Haha, welcome to Karma on Deck. I'm Karma. This is your Mercury RX for your retrograde energy report for the signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. These are the fixed solid signs. I'm tech tarded, so I don't know why it didn't stream to Instagram to do the Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn video, but it's on my YouTube. If you are one of those, I apologize. I was trying to get there for you. So yeah, I think it's time I came back on here and spoke to this. There are some of you that are coming to me saying it is kind of chaotic. Hi, Stacy. It's a little chaotic out there, so I figured I'd give you the gift of taking a look at what this energy is looking like. By the way, if you've done some browsing on the website, you can see there's some new offerings. Matter of fact, there's an entirely new website. I have my Meditation for the Modern Mystic class is finally launched. It was a live 12-week course. However, people have a hard time committing. Not through lack of commitment, but life gets in the way. So I restructured it to an online self-paced course. So if you really want to get it together, it's a product of 6 years of research and application of everything from studying the chakras and their behaviors, mantras, ohms, mudras, positioning, sacred sound, plant medicine, positioning, and breath work in an easy, simple meditation according to karma. So check out Meditation for the Modern Mystic. I think you're going to love it. It's a comprehensive course. All right, let's get started for the fixed solid signs. Here we go. Oh, so you guys are nothing but obvious. I can see here that there is some miscommunication that's going on. A lot of intensity for you guys. Tension as well. The first card that popped out to me that felt pretty significant is this one here. This is the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands talks to us about indecision. This isn't even like apples and oranges. It's like apples and pencils. We are analysis paralysis, trying to decide which direction to go. I love to describe this card because sometimes it reminds me of when you had to ask your parents for something and you'd ask your mom and get one answer and your dad and get another. That's essentially this card, where you're having a hard time comparing things and you feel torn between these two decisions or these two different things. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a decision, but we're definitely feeling torn, whereas we feel we've got two things to accommodate, The Hierophant has been a theme when I was reading for the cardinal signs, the tropical signs. I was getting the Hierophant also, and they're already in this sense of withdrawal. They're in this withdrawal phase right now, and with you guys with the fixed and solid signs, which, by the way, not to be all over the place, but you know how I do, you guys have a lot of major cards, which tells me that there is this huge impact that it feels like you have going on. Like things are a little more solid, a little bit more there's no maybes here with you guys. You guys have the Hierophant moving forward. It feels as if you want to take a break, take a step back. One of the things I'd like to point out about the Hierophant, though, is it's less about being alone and it's more about thinking. Our gurus didn't go up to the mountain in order to isolate themselves, to cut people off. It was to learn. And so what is it that you have to learn is the question. And what is it that you need to observe? Because this card has to do with observation too. The Hierophant isn't just silence. The Hierophant also has to do with doing the right thing. The Hierophant is our card for religion, spirituality, our moral code, our programs. What is it that you want to do correctly or right? Where is your integrity coming into play? Because the Hierophant tells us that we want to keep that first and foremost, right? So so as the Hierophant comes up, it asks you what programs are running you, and what is this integrity and moral code that you're looking after. I do see that you guys are having a difficult time implementing ideas, going from a portion of concept to actuality. I do see the Devil card in here where you're feeling a little antagonized, or maybe there are some bad habits of yours or others that's affecting the direction in which you want to take yourself. I see that miscommunication has been a huge influence. The Three of Swords tells us that if we don't communicate, things will fail. So it's difficult to communicate with people who aren't listening. And miscommunication is often just an indicator that people aren't slowing down. I would also like to suggest that tension is a huge portion of this for you guys, for the fixed signs. You have tension. If you notice here, there's pressure. So is there deadline pressure? I have to get things done by a certain point of time. I would love to ask the question to you, though. What is the decision that you feel like you have to make? It feels like there's pressure along the fault line of a decision. Like, which side of this do I need to go to? Because if you look here, we've got the 9 of coins with the idea at the bottom. So there's this idea, and then we've got the 10 of coins, black and white. We got to put things in black and white. So maybe it's about a portion of organizing your time, or organizing, prioritizing, perhaps. You do have the Chariot card, so it makes me curious how many of you are dealing with vehicle issues. I have the Chariot card. So travel in something having to do with your vehicles also on deck. I do see the Queen of Pentacles. I wouldn't worry too much about money for you guys, but I do see the Queen of Wands for action. That's a nurturing action that has to do with taking care of yourself. So my question to you is, what's at the crossroads for you? With this reading, I'm seeing the Fool in the very center, which is a crossroads. So maybe with the way the cards were laid out, the car is me. Stacy says the car is me. All right, so maybe there's some deadline or pressure having to do with vehicles, but in the very center of your reading is the Fool. So what are you at a crossroads with? What is it that you feel that you need to take some leadership on? Because the Fool has to do with taking direction. The Fool also has to do with faith. You know, you heard me talking about my meditation class, so I stay in meditation as much as possible, mostly because what else is one to do? When it comes to the push, comes down to the wire and we don't know what to do, we always freak out. Instead, we just, we have this tool of meditation to go in and start playing with some of the concepts that are affecting us and making some more solid decisions. The Fool card here is a leap of faith. It tells us that we have to trust the universe and trust ourselves. The Fool is also about crossroads. Which path do I take? I see a lot of indecision for you guys, where their miscommunication is driving you a little bonkers, going a little crazy. But what's true is action usually is the thing that helps us to break the stagnancy. I don't see the Hangman feeling stuck, but I definitely see a crossroads for you guys where you're at this pivot point. So pivot. We regret things we didn't do more than we regret the things that we did do, even though that is the reason we don't take action, is because we look back and we have fear. But the Fool card is about faith. It's an act of faith. Trust yourself and move forward. Let's look at this in regards to emotionally for you guys. How is this Mercury retrograde affecting you right now? Stacy's saying take leadership or take a man's balls, because I think that's what you're telling me without telling me, and you already know who I'm talking about. All right, so let's take a look at this emotionally. This is the rising portion of this, if these are your rising signs too. Ace of Cups. All you want is a little love. You have a little bit of nostalgia, I would have to say. Again, the High Priest. And again, the Three of Swords. So here's the thing. I kind of pick up in the way these cards are laid out. Number one, I don't feel like you're sleeping or you're overthinking. We have this Nine of Swords being a little dramatic, or things are dramatic, right? It's okay to be dramatic. If you're freaking out, listen, Priestess swag. If you feel like you need to freak out, freak out. Like, we don't give our inner child enough leverage to have the fit and release these emotions that are trapped in our body. But this card, the Nine of Swords, tells us that there's some overthinking and you're feeling a little trapped. Hi, Misha. So there's this sense of feeling overwhelmed and a little trapped. And I would like to suggest that, you know, for you, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, that you guys are really feeling, you know, trapped. And it's mostly because there's too much energy coming in at once for you to filter. So what do? We stop, we take a break, and we step back, and we can only do one thing at a time. Look at these cards. Insomnia, overwhelm, overthinking, feeling stuck. This card here represents the feeling of, have you ever been looking for your keys? You go through the whole house and you're like, never mind, I'm too late now. And then they're right there. They've been there the whole time. And you're like, ugh. So this is like taking a look, not being able to take a break long enough to really see what's in front of you. It's literally overwhelmed. Some of you may call this anxiety, but what's true is, two things are true with anxiety. One, we don't slow down enough. We take on one thing after another without calibrating in between. So overwhelm can be called anxiety. I have anxiety. So if we're feeling overwhelmed, what is the hack? Start saying no. Start putting some things down that you committed to and renegotiate those agreements so that you can feel like you have a measure of control. Secondly, if you're feeling overwhelmed, sometimes we're not letting our emotions out and they get stopped in our body, and then we start to freak out or fluctuate a little bit and over vibrate. And so we have anxiety because we're not releasing our emotions often enough. Again, go back to meditation. If you're not meditating, I can tell you, you're robbing yourself of some true value of emotional regulation and intelligence. It's where we discover ourselves. It's where we learn these tools and understand what we really are thinking and discover the sound of our own voice. So if you're not meditating, maybe there's something out there for you to try. Sitting and breathing and retraining our nervous system to calmness. Because if we've got constant hits of input and constant stimulation, we're not training our nervous system to calm down. We don't have to slow down. We just have to calm down. Train yourself to relax, to trust yourself. I'd like to suggest that the big theme for you is the Three of Swords. Miscommunication, or you're not able to articulate, or people aren't listening. Oh, why do I always get the hiccups when I'm channeling? Three of Swords, miscommunication, and then consequence. We're worried about consequence. No risk, no reward, guys. I would also like to suggest that you're short-tempered. This is all that overwhelm coming out. Mostly it's this Knight of Swords where we feel as if we have a little road rage or PMS built up where we need to release it. Release it. Find a way to healthy express. And again, the theme is the same. Even though I pulled another deck entirely, we've got the High Priest. So you're so caught up in the right thing, doing the right thing, that we're not doing. And we're feeling a little stuck. This is a very Aquarius energy, by the way. We want things to go back to the way they were with a little nostalgia, but we want things to change at the same time. You have the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles, both of which tell us there's expansion that's going on. So as you're expanding, recognize that those two things grow together. Venus is not just love, it is also money. So you're on this cusp of change. What are you pivoting? What are you changing? Let's pull a card from Divination of the Ancients and see what that has to say for you guys this week. I'm going to come back up and do some videography next week for each sign. Abundance is on its way. So trust expansion. And remember, fear is contraction. So if you're feeling fearful or overwhelmed and you're not expanding, this is generally blocking your blessings, so to speak. So the coins, the abundance card is telling us, like I was just finishing up with, that's Venus, it's expansion. So trust yourself, renegotiate some of your agreements so you don't feel so overwhelmed, and redirect. Take some leadership and trust yourself. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. I will catch you on the flip side, and I will be right back for the mutable signs. Thanks for hanging out with me.